I started my profession as a receptionist, right from the front desk. Okay, so from then to here, it's a big shift.
Has this ever happened in your career so far where you are the only no voice in the room while everybody else is going for a yes?
I was the only woman on the India management team for the first time, and that too, a single lady in the room sitting on a table.
Any message, Lakshmi, you would want to give to the younger lawyers out there?
So be that deaf frog, because only the deaf frog could climb the wall. Rest all, could make it half and they fell off only because they heard all the noise around them.
Lakshmi Nayak, hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Frank.
Awesome. Good to have you, Lakshmi. Thank you so much for accepting our request. And yes, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited. So I'm just waiting for you to shoot the questions.
All right. Speaking of question, let's start with how you feeling today. Since I have not given you any context, any list of questions, and I've asked you to come for an impromptu fireside chat. How do you feel about it? What all things are going on right now in your head? Let's
Okay.
start from
Yeah,
there.
it's interesting question, right? So the very first thing is this is my first ever podcast it's going to be. So
Mhm.
I'm excited one and like a lot of puzzle what questions you're going to throw me from which corner of the legal world. So I'm like super excited, bit of nervous, but at the same time good confidence. So yeah, it's all the mixed feeling, and yeah,
Mhm.
I'm ready for the game. So
Awesome. All right. So then let's start. So, Lakshmi, if you can help me understand your life journey from the top five moments of your life, the top five moments, it could be high or the low points as well, but top five defining moments which you think has has a major impact on your life wherever you are today, could be because of those five defining moments. Would love to know those things from your side. Consider everything from right from your childhood until now, because I'm sure those moments in the childhood also have made certain impact on who you are today.
yeah, that's very interesting, Mayank. I think yeah, there are a lot of moments which has made me today. So yesterday itself, I wrote an article on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you got a chance to read about it. It was just a gratitude and a thanks to my younger version. Yeah. So I felt like it's been a long time since I have thanked myself for all that like my younger version has given me, for which I stand tall today with bold and confidence, which this world is not ready to take. Yeah, so that's what I feel. So where did this come from? So if I have to talk about, I wanted to emerge as a doctor at the very beginning.
Okay,
That was a dream
interesting.
to wear a white jacket and with a
Yeah.
stethoscope. So that was my dream throughout. But yeah, unfortunately, I got a very good marks in my 10th grade, for which I would
Mhm.
it didn't call for me to become a doctor because it wasn't good enough. Okay, that's what I
Mhm.
mean.
Yeah.
So then I
Yeah.
made up my mind when I started my journey. I made up my mind saying, okay, what is that I want to become? So when I asked this question to myself, doctor was ruled out because I didn't get a good score. So that was ruled out, and I had to vanish that dream of mine. So the option was I wanted to emerge as a good IAS officer, or I wanted to emerge as a good professional. Yeah, whichever profession. I didn't know what I wanted to become because this was the two things. So the second phase moment of my life was I always started dreaming. I started preparing for my UPSC because I wanted to become IAS officer. And I always used to dream ambassador car, white car with a red beacon. Okay. This was my dream day and night, when I was up, when I was sleeping. Even that didn't give me a good hand because I couldn't clear in all the three attempts I made. I could clear only my prelims. I couldn't clear my mains. So that is when I thought, okay, now that the second option is ruled out, I have only the third option, which I wanted to emerge as a good professional. And what professional it was, I didn't know. Okay, so that is what when like I thought, okay, and universe started giving me a message saying that you can be a good lawyer. I don't know why people around me recognized me as a good lawyer, wherein I didn't recognize myself as a I can be a good lawyer. So that is when I thought, okay, when people are recognizing, when people are telling, why not I explore this opportunity? Yeah, because universe is giving me this message. So I started chasing that dream of mine, and you see me as a legal leader today. Yeah, this is my breaking moment in life, wherein like I would say legal was not by chance which I did, it was by choice which I did to emerge as a professional, and today here I am sitting with you.
Wonderful. This is beautiful. So, who was that person who pushed you to pursue legal as your career itself, or even to pursue that education in the legal field? Who were those people, or one person, if you can name out, and even if you can remember those conversations which actually made you uh, inclined towards this decision?
Perfect. Thanks for this question, Mayank. I think this is a very good platform and very good opportunity for me to thank those two people who literally made big difference in my life. Okay, one is my then boyfriend and now husband. Yeah, who always said you can be a good lawyer. Okay, so I never heard him because he was my boyfriend then. So I was like, he just like says. So I never heard him. And the second person, when I was working, I started, okay, to be honest, I started my profession as a receptionist, right from the front desk. Okay. So from then to here, it's a big shift. It's a very big shift. So I was working for a company called Levi Strauss. And here there was a finance director who was heading finance. And he called me one day and he said, "Hey, Lakshmi, why don't you pursue legal? You can be a very good lawyer indeed." So I said it was like hot blood, young, and like I had already master degree with me. I went and said on his face, "Hey, look, I'm already master degree. Do you really want me to study graduation again? No, I'm not interested." This was my straight answer to his question on face. Okay. And then he said, like, okay, but you can really be a good lawyer. So I just said and I came off and he didn't say anything. And then came an opportunity in Bosch. Okay. Bosch was my dream company. It was my dream because like as a child I grew, I always look at that logo, invented for life, invented for innovation. So I always aspired to work in Bosch, and Bosch opportunity came in legal department, surprisingly. So that is when I realized universe is giving me a message. I think I can be a good lawyer. Okay. So that's how I started chasing my dream and I emerged as a good lawyer. And you don't believe I found this person who had like, instigated me to pursue law. I thanked him saying that if I would have done my legal like 4 years back, which I realized 4 years later, what you said is true. And today I am a qualified lawyer. Yeah, so that's how my journey started. It's very interesting when I look back and when I that's the reason like end of this year I wanted to thank my younger version who did not give up on dreams. And yes, that's how it
Wow.
is.
What's your dream now? What's there in store, or on your goal sheet? If you have done some annual planning, what do you think 2026 is gonna look like for you?
I have my pegboard in front of me. This is my home
Mhm.
office workstation. I can see at my pegboard. My plan is ready up till 2032, Prayank, if I have to be honest
Wow,
enough.
lovely.
Okay.
I would love to know about it.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact,
So, wherein
everybody who's seeing viewing this would love to know about how to make those goals. Yes, we are all ears.
perfect. So I have my pegboard, which comprises of everything: my personal, my family, my professional, and myself. Okay, so I have my pegboard ready up till 2032, wherein it talks about my personal, professional, myself, and my time to the community and to my friends. Yeah, so overall it covers everything, it captures everything. Okay, so basically in my profession there are a couple of things which I want to become. By 2030 I want to become a CEO of my own venture. Don't ask me what it is. I have a couple of plans which I plan to kick off by end of 2026, December 31st. I will make some progress. I don't know what I'm going to make, but I'm sure I'm going to make some. And by 2030 is when I aspire to be a CEO. Okay. So I have another pegboard here on my left side, which says I am CEO already. Okay. And it talks about my name. Okay. So I have it. This is my inspiration, which I manifest looking at it every day. Okay, one day I can be. And the other one is I want to become, like, in my professional life, if I have to talk about, I want to have that name tag of Chief Legal Officer by end of 2026.
Lovely. I'm sure when it's out, your leadership would look at it and then maybe make it possible for you.
Yes. So that is one. And the third one is I want to enter into board of two companies at least by end of
Okay.
2026, as a board of director, or independent director. This is my dream. This has been my dream always since ever I started my profession. So I'm already a board
Mhm.
of director, but yes, another two companies to add to my portfolio is my goal, which I'm working towards. And yeah, my personal, and again, like, talk about my mindful soul journey and my health and gratitude and work towards community. And community, yes, I am doing because I'm engaged with one of the NGOs, which is in Ranchi, and we work with tribal very closely. So
Okay.
I am giving back to the society, which has made me what I am today. Okay. So that is one. And yeah, there is a lot of it in my pegboard, and a world trip is also there in one. And yeah, I want to own a luxury car, which is a luxury. So I have five different cars, which is right in front of me. So either
Mhm.
one of them I should own by end of 2028. Okay.
Very good.
2032 is where, like, I can finish off all family obligation with my kids, settling them
Interesting.
and things like that. Um, and then I want to have a courtyard house, a farmhouse basically. So that I'm behind the schedule. It was planned for 2025. I'm behind the schedule. So I'm sure in next 1 year, 1.5 years, I'm sure I'm going to do it. Um, yeah, this is my goal. There is a lot of it, which I don't want to take your time because it's a big
Lovely.
pegboard what I have.
Interesting. This is good. This is lovely to know. How do you draw inspiration to do all of this, Lakshmi?
Um, uh, See, I think I have this personal strong inclination wherein when you are ready to receive things, I think
Mhm.
things will come to you. Like a guru will come to you, a guide will come to you. For example, like we had not met like a month back. And
Correct.
I think when you are ready to receive, I think you will get somehow. You will get there what you want to. And my inspiration come from self. So I'm self motivated. No matter what, I don't go down when I fail, because failures are the stepping
Mhm.
stone. And when I get the success, I don't get it to my head. I want to stay grounded and humble. That is my first and foremost requirement, which, like, I tell to myself every morning. And I think my energy comes from a lot of gratitude, what I give back, Prayank. I don't keep it for myself. Whomsoever it is, I
Okay.
don't mind saying thanks to them in whatever medium it is. And if I'm at the wrong place and I'm at the wrong side of it, I don't mind asking sorry. So I think I don't keep anything. So that is one thing. And my visualization is what, like, brings me where I am today. So that is one. And my energy levels, it don't drop. I don't know how I get that, but yes, I get it. And my energy levels are same right from the day, like, when I start my morning till I hit the bed. So it's the same. So I think I have a very supportive family and friends. and my well wishers basically, who really like know that they call me Iron Lady for whatever good reason. They say that you're Iron Lady because last week I was down with fever, and like whenever my friends call me, they said like, "Oh, you're Iron Lady, right? Are you sitting quiet? Didn't you step out of the house? Seriously?" I think that's not fair. I think universe is missing you. So this is what the comments I get. So that's how I maintain my energy, because I know how to bounce back. It's not that all the time I'll be up. I don't have like shortfalls and things. It does, but what makes difference for one? This is for everyone again. Like whenever you have the bad moments or low moments, take a step back. That's okay. That's okay to take, but at the same time, I would say most of them forget to bounce back. So it's how you bounce back when you fail, or when you have low moments, when you are not in good mood. Yes, there are days where my energy levels goes down, but then I take a step back, talk to myself, and I know how to bounce back in a very particular situation. So bouncing back matters a lot.
Hmm, impressive, impressive. So tell me one thing, Lakshmi. So I was going through your LinkedIn, and you have variety. You have worked in variety of industries, right from food tech to the automotive to now a semiconductor manufacturing company. And what are the challenges which you faced while jumping from one industry to another, despite the role being same on the legal side as an in-house counsel? But I'm sure there would be some inherent challenges from one industry to another as well. How did you cope up with that? And is there any mantra which you follow, which has been helping you in smooth transitions from one industry to another and making you succeed in those industries wherever you go? Would love to know how you're doing it.
Yeah, this is very interesting, Mayank. So the very first thing, my mantra here, let me begin from there. My mantra here is to unlearn and learn, because most of us don't do that when we change profession, when we change companies, right? Because that's where most of the leaders whom you see have failed when they change the organization, right? Because people don't unlearn. Unlearning is very important for us in life, right? So, for example, if you look at my transition, I worked at a very renowned company at the very beginning. And then came the different segments, right? So Bosch was very flagship company wherein I have worked for both manufacturing and ITES there. It was altogether a different world. From there, when I transitioned to a smaller organization, the very first thing I had to tell myself is do not compare. Okay, because when you start comparing with your previous organization is when you tend to do mistake and walk. And also, like I said to myself, what worked there would not work here, right? So I can't adopt the same strategy. My strategy has to change. Yeah. So if I go in the same strategy, if I try to implement, I fail big time. Yeah, because I did at the very beginning, and then I failed. So then I had to take a step back and think about, okay, what made me fail? Okay, it's very important for us to reflect. So when I changed the organization, as you rightly said, automotive, ITITS, FMCG, and scientific analytical, now with semiconductor, so I had to literally think what works for me. So basically, the very first thing I started doing is unlearning things and not to implement the same strategy in the organization I went. And you have to understand the business first. So I always believe in preparing 30, 60, 90-day plan. Okay, wherever I go, I do this. So the very first 30 days is just understanding. You need not be when I started my career, somebody said, one of my managers said, you need not be rock star. So I did not understand then what does that mean. But slowly, as I started getting the experience, I understood what does that mean. You need not be rock star, actually speaking. All that you should know is you should understand where you're working. You should understand the culture first. You need to understand the people. You need to understand the product. You need to understand the customer. And you need to understand what are the territories we are present, who are our competitors, what's our business. So the moment you understand, like you know how to play it around. And as you rightly said, legal is same. Legal doesn't change. It's only the organization change and how you adopt to it. So I think that's how I could, like, navigate myself. And my biggest USP is how to navigation. I think navigation is my biggest USP, I must say. I clearly know how to adopt myself. I would like to call myself as a water. Like, when you pour water into any shape of glass or a bottle, it takes that particular shape, and it doesn't think about, okay, I'm changing my shape, right? So one has to be like water, wherein adaptability is really good. Like, you can adapt to any kind of situation, any kind of industry, and you can navigate things.
Interesting. Very, very, very lovely analogy of equating your professional capabilities or USPs with water. I really appreciate that. And I like this as well. But tell me one thing, some things would be common, right? Like, I mean, I've spoken to more than 100 plus general counsels in the last 6 months. And one of the common thread which came out is the business people or the engineers or the employee at large in any organization thinks that in-house counsels are a blocker. They would redline things, they would not give permission right away, and they will basically stall things up. And they basically get pissed off because of this very nature. Because when the council was not there, things were smooth for them. But now they have to go through a process and hurdle as well. So, how did you create a balance or equilibrium with your non-lawyer folks at all the organizations?
This is really interesting, Mayank. I always, like, I talk a lot outside to people, wherein I talk to them and tell about capability, building capabilities. Like, so that is one thing which I have adopted to myself as well. I always believe in building capabilities. So when you're talking to an engineer, if I go and put forward the legal jargons, they say that how boring is this? And when I start creating the awareness session to the engineering team and I talk about all the acts, sections, and the legal jargons, they say that, okay, I know you spoke something in English and everything went over my head. Okay. So if I have to talk and get the buy-in of the engineers or the business teams or the internal stakeholders, I have to be one among them, the very first thing, right? And I have to understand their language, and I have to speak the same business language. Despite of being a lawyer, I have to be a business manager as well. So it is very important for one, especially a legal counsel, to know when to change their hats, when to wear the legal hat, when to wear a business manager's hat. So a legal counsel, in-house legal counsel, has to be a business manager as well, which means they need to understand business. They need to know how to communicate in business language. If I go and tell, look, this is compliance and this is a lot of risk and we can't do it, nobody will buy in. They will definitely feel me as a blocker. At the same time, I go and tell, everybody goes with a problem. But I believe like one should go with a solution as well. There is a problem, no doubt about it. But at the same time, how do you mitigate? So identifying a potential risk and helping the business to understand how to mitigate it and take that take that approach of leaving all the small fish and catching the good ones, the big ones, matters a lot. So I don't believe in changing English, the very first thing. And second, I don't believe in catching the small fishes, because small fish, you can take that calculative risk, and any which ways, like all the legal documentation or the advisory what you give, you can take that calculative risk. But what matters a lot is when the company's brand image is at risk, when the reputation is risk, when there is a high potential of litigation, that is when you have to clearly put down your foot and say no to it. So that's what my approach is, and that's why I have been successful. No doubt that legal would come across as a blocker, but at the same time, business also would appreciate when you help them understand why you are saying something, what you are saying.
Hmm, this is profound. Okay, help me understand this. Has this ever happened in your career so far where you are the only no voice in the room while everybody else is going for a yes?
Uh, yes, actually, it has happened. When I tell you, this is very interesting, okay? In my career, one of the always, you know what? People believed I can do something wherein I did not believe myself. Okay, this was my funda throughout. I don't know for whatever good reason. People believe that I have the potential, but I never knew or understood my own potential, which I have started off late. Okay, when I got opportunity in one of the companies in my career, I was never told in the interview that I'll be part of the India management. Okay, um, when I went for the first day reporting, that is when I get to know that you're part. I was introduced by managing director of the company, saying that she is my management team. I was shivering. I was scared shit of like the conversation. I was like, I went back to my manager who was from London, and I told him, "You never told me that I'm part of India management, and you know what? I'm not ready. I don't know how to go about it." Okay. He said, like, look, you have undergone 9 rounds of interview, and all the 9 people had only one name at the end of it. That was yours. And we believe that you can do it, and you are the right fit for it. And I said, like, I'm not confident. I literally said this. I didn't even bother whether I lose my job. I went and said, I'm not ready for it. Okay. When I got to know this, I was put. And I was in all the management meetings on a Monday morning. Okay. Very first thing, I'm not confident. Okay, I'm scared, and I'm at the table wherein the business major business strategy decisions are made. So initial 1 month, I was mute spectator because I didn't know what to speak. I was doubting myself what I talk is right or wrong. So I was the only person, as you rightly said, it was men's world. I mean man's world. So I was the only woman on the India management team for the first time, and that too a single lady in the room sitting on a table. Okay. So I was like mute. I didn't had any voice there, and nobody came to me as well. They were discussing and then didn't even realize that I'm sitting there, and nobody asked me what's your opinion. So I saw this went on for a month or two, and then I realized I'm not making any value addition here. So all that I have to do is I have to speak. I have to give my voice despite, which means if I don't get a seat at the table, I've got a seat at the table for the namesake, but nobody spoke to me. Okay. Nobody heard me because they thought that what is this legal person going to give any business solution? So that is when I made up my mind and I started giving my input fearlessly. And that is when they also felt included. Okay. Initially, I was excluded for whatever good reason, but then I started getting like, they started including me. And at the end of it, they made me a diversity and inclusion a champion at the organization. Okay. So that is when, like, I started getting that attention, which means I literally pulled my seat at the table and I said, hey, look, hear me out. This is my opinion as well. So yes, there were like low times when I had to take a step back and reflect and come back. And yes, if you don't speak, you don't get it. So you if you are not getting one word to everyone out there, what I would say here is, if you don't get a seat at table, if nobody is valuing your opinion does matter. So pull your own chair, sit there, and give your opinions.
I like it. I like it. Pulling your own chair and basically making your point across, because that's important. And unless you speak, nobody would be able to hear you. It's as simple as that. Oftentimes, uh, people doubt themselves, right? Like you said, you were not sure that you are ready. So maybe the initial couple of months went into that doubt phase itself, self doubt, whether I'm capable or not. Should I be even saying something or not? If I say something wrong, what will happen? So all those doubts, I think, clouded your judgment. And I think, for good, you came back and said, you know what, it's done, enough of it. Let me speak. Otherwise, my seat's gonna go.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to make the tougher decisions, no matter, even if you're wrong, what's that? Like, you can rectify it. There is no sky is going to fall. So you can rectify your mistakes. So just go for it. Look, like I will tell you one mantra, which I should not be giving out in the world there. Fake it till you make it. Simple.
Yes, I think it also helps in boosting the confidence
Yes,
at large,
yes.
or at least to a certain extent.
Exactly. The reason is when you see, for example, if I don't know anything, if somebody comes and tells me something, I can go get it. At the very beginning, if I say I don't know this, it wouldn't come to me. So if I'm confident enough that can adapt to that and I can learn what is needed for that, I can always take that and try to manage or like look at people how they are doing, and then if I learn and adopt it, nothing like it, which means at the very beginning I did not reject it, I accepted the challenge, I took it, and then I started faking as if I knew everything just to understand, and then I learn literally and get into that, and I'm there in the battlefield.
Right. Do you think being confident is the utmost skill the in-house counsel must have?
Yes. See, because any legal counsel, in-house counsel especially, they have only two answers. One is yes, one is no, right? So sometimes as a business manager, when you think you have that middle ground as well, right? So to voice it out, wherever you have to literally put your foot down and say no, you have to do it. For that, the confidence is needed. You have to be bold enough with the confidence which you can put it out there. Yes, there will be it's not that I don't want to please anyone. At the same time, even if I want to please, I want to say, hey, look, from legal, this is what it is. If you think business can take risk, please go ahead and take. And legal has no say. But I am telling you, these are the potential risks. These are the potential things which I foresee, and if you are able to ensure that there is nothing which comes for the brand image, go for it. So to say that, you have to be bold enough. And yes, confidence is very much utmost important thing for any in-house counsel, because you have to say it loud and clear to your stakeholders.
Mm, right. Interesting. So, Lakshmi, in all your stint in the past and even in the now, even in your current stint as well at YES, innovation has been the driving force when we look at all the companies. How important it is to safeguard that innovation, and what role an in-house counsel can play in ensuring the innovation is progressing in the right way in the company.
Yeah. So see, when innovation is given, without innovation no companies or no organization can survive, right? You have to have that competition edge. If you have to have that competition edge, then you have to be innovative enough, right? So how a council, any in-house council, can safeguard the innovation? Like, yes, when there is some sort of innovation, then of course, yes, there are most of the challenges, like couple of challenges, right? It could be regulatory, or it could be any of the competitors, uh, invention or anything of that sort. So what is that utmost, I would say, according to me, is building the guardrails at the very beginning, like involving with the engineering teams or the product teams. That would really come very handy, like wherein you can start thinking of the potential risk, what you can anticipate, and educate the engineering team and the product team or the manufacturing team about it, right? So my best approach would be being proactive rather than being a reactive mode, because in the reactive mode you'll only firefight and do things, right? If you are proactive enough, you can build sufficient guardrails which can protect your innovation, what the company comes up with. And also you can anticipate what's the risk, and also you can come up with a risk framework, giving out to the business teams and the engineering teams with a risk mitigation plan. So that's how you come across as a growth enabler and not a speed breaker to the business teams.
Mhm. Interesting. So, when it comes to risk, what are the kind of risk uh, you generally highlight when it comes to IP or innovation?
See, when it comes to IP, the very first thing is whether are we sufficiently protecting our brand image, the very first thing. And second thing is whether the core technology, what we are coming up with respect to IP, whether it is sufficiently protected. Yeah. So one. And two, even if we go for any of the with new with all the AI and all the technology which is coming in place, the very first thing is we have to sufficiently protect our IP portfolios, right? So when we come up with any of the technology, whether like it's been sufficiently done, whether like if we are licensing it out to any of the partners, whether have we protected, where and all we have protected, what is that we have done, how is that ownership we are trying to do, and does it really has the commercial edge? Because IP is nothing but very much commercialization, right? How do you monetize and things like that? So you have to have that competition edge so that you don't miss on your competition, basically.
Mhm. Interesting. Are there any challenges which you as an in-house counsel have been facing for many years and something which needs an immediate solution? Uh, could you highlight some of those challenges?
Challenges, see, as a legal professional there is a lot of challenges, right? So one is what happens on the regulatory framework in the respective jurisdiction. If you are handling a global portfolio, one is the regulatory challenge. You need to clearly identify what is that particular regulatory change in that particular jurisdiction is happening. So staying up to date with respect to regulatory changes or macro or microeconomics, that matters a lot as a legal professional. That is one of the most challenge what I feel, which most of the in-house counsel miss doing it. So unless and until you ensure, because whenever there is a regulatory or any of the major changes in law, and if we do not keep uh, ourselves abreast of thing, it can impose both financial and reputational issue for any organization, right? So I always believe in balancing both ethical and integrity in safeguarding the brand image of any organization where I work with.
So that's on the ethical side and the regulatory side of things. Okay. So when I spoke to all these 100 plus general counsels, in one of the things which I also realized what the challenge they've been facing is inconsistency in terms of timelines for, let's say, getting the patents approved, be it India, be it US, and also the I mean, the amount of effort required to convince the CFOs to approve the budgets. Have you also faced these kind of challenges when it comes to IP or different as well? Would love to know your take on it.
Yeah. So see, these challenges, getting the approval, getting the patent awarded or getting it approved by respective, government, that is not in our hands, right? With respect to anything pertaining to the government approvals or the award, we do not have sufficient, bandwidth for us to set it right. We have to go by and abide by the timelines what they have, basically, right? What we can fix, in my opinion, is the in-house. So the very first thing when I started with any of the IP related stuff in the organization where I worked with, uh, for example, the patent committee or the IP council has very upper hand there, right? So the right set of processes, the right set of framework would really help any of the in-house counsel to fix all this, right? So if you have sufficient I must say the processes in place. For example, what is the process for, if let us take any disclosure forms coming from the inventors. Like if patent committee knows clearly, there is a process which is laid there, the framework which is laid there, what is the timeline, how does it go, what is that, what is the next step after each one of it, and giving that one, having this processes and framework. to creating awareness among the engineering teams and the so-called inventors, right? So creating awareness, saying that, hey, look, time to time we have to give them sufficient awareness and the documentation what they needed, right? So if you do that and CEO approval comes towards the end of it, yeah, that's the last process. So I will come to that. When you have these processes set in place, you clearly know that, okay, which is that invention which has come to your desk, which can be monetized, which can be commercialized, which has the competitive edge. Because see, for any organization, when CEO approves, what does he look at? How does this particular invention boost my valuation of the company, right? The very first thing. Second, do I have a competition edge? Yeah. Third, can I monetize this, and what would be my revenue if I get this to market, right? So if these are answered, I don't see any issues in CEO approving it, like at least for the companies which I have worked in. Because, for example, if I take my current situation in the current company, patent is must, right? Because we have to invent, we have to have that competition edge, because we are budding startup in the semiconductor world. We are crawling. So if we have to stand tall and compete with the big timers, then we have to invent, right? So if that invention particularly has ability for the capitalization and the commercialization, then yes, I don't see any issues in the management approving the same. So because it follows the process, right? Committee approves, and then you go to the patent attorney and ask them to draft it and make it very good, and they go and find, they say that this is good to go. And that is when, as a last process, wherein CEO doesn't have any necessity to say no, right? So I have not faced a problem, because I always believe in a framework and the process first, because if that is fixed, rest can be fixed.
Interesting. Very, very interesting insight. So when it comes to the committee, or you said from time to time the inventors need to be asked or uplifted in terms of, yes, we need to protect something. Do you also incentivize your inventors for submitting an idea?
That's very much needed, right? Otherwise, any inventor would come and say, what is in it for me? So I will give it to you, the invention. You go monetize it. You go capitalize it. What is in it for me? So that would be the question from the inventor. So you have to incentivize them, at every stage. For example, it has to be every phase, right? The very first thing is when they come up with the invention application, you go and tell them, hey, look, your invention is really good, and now that you have come up, we can think. That's the next process. Now that you have brought it to my table, I'm going to incentivize you. And then goes the next phase. I'm going to go file, and it's been accepted, then I'm going to incentivize you, right? And then comes the award moment, when the company is awarded, which means company has made that it has uplifted its valuation, one. And two, it has that competition edge has been created. So again, the inventor is awarded there. Or if you're going to publish anything, then we are going to award you. So each phase, I think it's not one phase. Every organization has to think how it can incentivize any of the inventor. So that is when you can encourage and motivate people, and you have to say it loud and clear. For example, in the all hands meet, or the town hall meets, you have to clearly say, hey, look, for this particular quarter, these are the inventors and this is what they have done, and we are incentivizing. So that is one moment of recognizing people, wherein if I'm an engineer, I'm sitting quiet, I am motivated looking at my colleague saying that, hey, look, he has done and he has been recognized. Because I believe, and I'm sure other councils as well agree with me, saying any inventor, for any engineer for that matter, I think what in their resume they would love to put what are their number of patents they have, and what are the inventions they have
Right.
done. That's what matters for any engineer, and I think company has to recognize it.
Hmm, interesting. And does that also help you in retention?
Of course, yes. Because see, for any employees, for example, what matters to them is the company culture, right? And
Mm-hmm.
whether the company, because see, most of the companies call employees as assets, but do you really mean by it? Do you really value it? Right, when you value a employee as like, okay, this is an employee of my organization and this person is asset for my company, then when I start valuing that particular like asset, it's one of the biggest motivation for any employee to get retained, right? So I think yes, the answer is yes.
Lovely, lovely. Since you have already written a message on LinkedIn to your younger self, I want to ask you if there were an autobiography to be named after you, what should be the title of that autobiography and why?
Okay, so I don't know, that art autobiography, whosoever writes one day of mine, uh, it should be a message. It's not like autobiography of Lakshmi, but it has to have a message in it for all the younger self or all the women out there, especially from the women community, or like any of the this Gen Z, be it a male or a female. It should have a message in it for them. So I would love to call it as Dear Me.
Dear me.
Yeah. So that would be the
Interesting.
name of my autobiography, because it talks about everything, right? Which means basically it's a self talk. Because why I feel that, Prayank, is in today's world, most of us forget to talk to ourselves. And I always believe I am the best competition for myself. I'm the best friend for myself, and I am the best inspiration for myself. So nobody else can do it. I think most of the time we always take some other person as our motivation, some other person as our inspiration, or some other person as competition. Instead, if you always start thinking that I want to be better version of myself than what I was yesterday, I think that's an answer for everyone out there. So I would love it calling Dear Me, as it's a catchy, it's different, and people will come and
Yeah.
see what does this book has. Does it really talk
Right,
about
right.
someone's biography?
Yes, yes, I can clearly see the business angle, business side of yours, Lakshmi, and I'm sure by 2030 you would be the CEO of your own company. Maybe it could be the Dear Me book itself and publishing house after that. Who
Thanks, Prayank.
knows?
Actually, this was not in my mind, okay? This was very
Hmm.
spontaneous, which came from me. So I think I'm going to record it. So there is a lot of the what do you call it? The post-its here. So one of the
Hmm.
post-it for
Okay,
today is Dear Me, which will go here. So thanks for that.
lovely,
Thanks for that instigation.
lovely. No problem, no problem. Awesome. Uh, any message, Lakshmi, you would want to give to the younger lawyers out there, because people are uncertain in today's time when it comes to AI, when it comes to different use cases of it, the good thing and the bad thing, and everything up around the whole profession as well. Anything particularly you want to point out and give a message out to the younger lawyers who are watching us today, so that they get uplifted, they get motivated to pursue their dreams, and become a great lawyer like yourself?
Yeah, see, there comes the challenge, there comes the self-doubt, okay? Because there comes there comes a lot of challenge, there comes the self-doubt, and the world out there would say, hey, this is not your cup of tea, and you are a failure, and you can't do it, and things like that. What I would say to the younger lawyers out there is, hope they have heard about a story about a deaf frog. So be that deaf frog, because only the deaf frog could climb the wall. Rest all, could make it half and they fell off only because they heard all the noise around them. This frog, who was deaf, like literally could not hear anything, the whole world shouting against it, saying, you can't do it. So be that deaf frog. Believe in perseverance and persistence, because this has been my mantra, which always leads to success. So you have to be always like ready for the opportunity which is going to come. So preparedness is one thing which I would say. Don't wait for something to come to you. For example, today AI is spoken everywhere. It says that it will replace lawyers. No, it will not. Make AI work as your assistant, right? So prepare yourself with the assistance of that AI, right? So make it work for you. Give the command, make it work for you, and ensure by it itself, like have that preparedness. So when you're prepared for anything, you don't fear. So that fear factor would die, right? So with the perseverance and persistence, if you're prepared, whenever the opportunity comes, you will not get scared of it. You will open the door for that opportunity and you'll grab it. So be that opportunist. Is I know opportunities word like sound something else, but yes, be that opportunist so that you can grab any opportunity which comes to you. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Don't self doubt. Go out, fake it till you make it. So that's how you can make it. But again, don't take so much and don't take my name saying that I said. But yes, fake it. You are very confident that you can do it. So you can really make it.
Awesome, awesome. This was a profound wisdom. I'm sure people who are watching this would really learn from it and imbibe this mantra and make great progress in their careers as well. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for sharing your precious time with us and sharing so much nuggets of wisdom. And I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed talking to you. Look forward to meet you in person as well very soon.
Thanks, Prayank. I'm really happy that I got this opportunity to end the year. This was a very good note to how one can end the year to wind up, right? So you took me back to my childhood and that the glimpse of that entire, like, whatever the few seconds I could live my entire life till this point in time. And thanks for this platform and opportunity giving me to reflect on self while talking to you. I have got so many which I have to make notes once I'm like, like off the call. And then, yes, like it was self reflection. And thanks for this. It was wonderful. Even one person is like, inspired by like whatever I have said. I think that makes my purpose like, fulfilled. So
True,
thanks you.
true, absolutely. That's the whole goal of our platform as well. We want to make impact in that one person's life, and yeah, that's what we are all striving for.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Prank. Like, hope to meet you soon in person since we both are from Bangalore, so we can catch up sometime. Yeah.
Of course, wonderful. All right, thank you so much, Lakshmi. Again, bye
Thanks,
bye. Take
Prank.
care.